The year was 2147, and Earth had finally begun to heal from centuries of division. Nations were working together for the first time in history, pooling resources to explore the stars. Humanity's greatest achievement, a sprawling space station orbiting Mars, was a symbol of unity. But peace never lasts long in the universe. It started with static, a faint crackle over deep space communication arrays near Saturn. At first, scientists dismissed it as interference from cosmic radiation or solar flares. But then came the message. Clear, cold, and impossible to ignore. "This is High Admiral Calvor of the Zoreth Dominion," boomed a voice that sent shivers down spines across Earth. It wasn't human, not entirely. Its tone was mechanical yet tinged with arrogance, as if every word carried the weight of an empire. "Your species has trespassed into our territory. You will surrender all planetary assets within 7 solar cycles, or face annihilation." Dr. Elena Vasquez sat frozen in her lab at Luna Base, staring at the screen displaying the transmission. She was one of the brightest minds on Earth, a xenobiologist who had spent years studying potential extraterrestrial life. But nothing could have prepared her for this moment. Her hands trembled slightly as she replayed the recording, trying to decipher its nuances. The language was unfamiliar, but advanced translation algorithms had already converted it into perfect English. Commander Arjun Malik, head of Earth's newly formed United Defense Coalition, stood beside her. His sharp eyes scanned the data streaming in from listening posts scattered throughout the solar system. "They're serious," he muttered under his breath. "This isn't some bluff." Elena turned to him, her dark eyes wide with disbelief. "Do you think they even know what they're dealing with? We've barely scratched the surface of interstellar travel." Malik didn't answer immediately. Instead, he clenched his fists, his jaw tightening. He knew better than anyone how fragile Earth's defenses were. Yes, humanity had made progress. Colonies on Mars, mining operations on Europa. But compared to whatever the Zoreth Dominion possessed, they were ants facing a storm. The ultimatum spread like wildfire across the globe. News outlets broadcasted the chilling message nonstop. Panic erupted in cities, while governments scrambled to respond. Emergency sessions of the Global Council convened in record time. Leaders argued fiercely about whether to comply or resist. Some believed surrender was the only way to survive. Others saw defiance as their duty. Amidst the chaos, Elena couldn't shake off the feeling that something was missing. Why now? Why declare war without warning? And why target Earth when countless other planets existed in the galaxy? Her instincts told her there was more to this story. Her thoughts were interrupted by an urgent alert flashing on her console. Sensors near Saturn had detected unusual activity, an anomaly emitting strange energy signatures. It wasn't natural. Whatever it was, it predated human exploration of the outer solar system. "Commander," she said, pointing at the readings, "we need to investigate this before making any decisions. If the Zoreth are attacking us, we deserve to know why." Malik hesitated for a moment, weighing the risks. Then he nodded. "All right, but we move fast. Time isn't on our side." As preparations began for a reconnaissance mission, Elena felt a mix of fear and determination. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about understanding. Somewhere out there, answers awaited. Answers that might determine the fate of humanity itself. And somewhere far beyond, the Zoreth fleet loomed closer, ready to strike. The Zoreth fleet arrived in Sol's system like a storm no one could outrun. Their ships were massive, sleek, and menacing, each vessel glowing with an eerie blue light that pulsed rhythmically, as if alive. They moved silently through space, casting long shadows over the planets they passed. To humanity, it looked less like machines and more like predators stalking prey. High Admiral Calvor stood aboard his flagship, the Obliterator, watching Earth's orbit through holographic displays. His form was tall and angular, his skin shimmering with metallic undertones. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the cold calculation behind them. He had seen civilizations crumble under similar ultimatums before. Resistance was always futile, yet something about these humans intrigued him, perhaps their audacity to explore beyond their fragile world. On Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez and Commander Arjun Malik watched the same scene unfold from Luna Base. Satellite images showed dozens of Zoreth warships taking position near Mars. The sheer scale of their forces was overwhelming. Humanity's best weapons seemed like toys compared to the firepower displayed on those screens. "They're not even hiding," Malik muttered, pacing back and forth. "They want us to see how outmatched we are." Elena didn't respond immediately. Her focus was on the energy readings coming from Saturn. Whatever anomaly she detected earlier was now pulsing stronger, almost as if reacting to the Zoreth presence. She couldn't shake the feeling that it was connected somehow. To them, to this invasion, to everything. Before she could voice her suspicions, alarms blared across the base. The Zoreth had made their opening move. Without warning, beams of searing plasma lanced out from the alien fleet, striking several orbital defense platforms around Mars. Explosions lit up the void, scattering debris for thousands of kilometers. Communication channels filled with panicked voices as human operators scrambled to respond. But there was nothing they could do. The platforms fell like dominoes, leaving Earth exposed. Malik clenched his fists, his face grim. "We can't fight them head-on. Not yet. We need time." Elena nodded, her mind racing. "And answers. That anomaly. It might hold something we can use against them." Her suggestion sparked a debate among the leadership team. Some argued it was too risky to divert resources when Earth itself was under threat. Others saw it as their only chance. In the end, Malik sided with Elena. "If we don't take risks, we're already dead," he said firmly. Orders were issued, and a small reconnaissance crew was assembled to investigate the anomaly near Saturn. Meanwhile, High Admiral Calvor observed Earth's reaction with detached curiosity. Humans were scrambling, yes, but not panicking entirely. There was structure in their response, a hint of defiance. It amused him. Perhaps conquering this species would be more entertaining than he'd anticipated. As the reconnaissance mission launched, tensions mounted on both sides. For humanity, hope rested on uncovering the secrets hidden within the anomaly. For the Zoreth, patience was merely a prelude to domination, and somewhere between Saturn's rings, ancient forces stirred, waiting to reveal truths buried by time. When the reconnaissance ship reached the anomaly, what they found defied explanation. A derelict structure partially buried beneath Titan's icy surface. Its design was alien, far older than anything humanity or the Zoreth had ever encountered. As Elena studied the data streaming in, her heart raced. This wasn't just a relic, it was a message, a warning. But warnings often came too late. Far above, the Zoreth fleet began advancing toward Earth. The clock was ticking, and humanity's survival depended on deciphering the artifact's secrets before the invaders struck again. The Zoreth fleet's advance was relentless. Every day, their ships crept closer to Earth, their ominous glow visible even from the planet's surface. Panic spread like wildfire as cities prepared for the worst. Governments issued emergency protocols, and civilians were urged to seek shelter underground. Yet, amidst the fear, a spark of defiance burned brightly within Commander Arjun Malik and his team. Malik knew humanity couldn't win a direct confrontation. Not yet. The Zoreth warships were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything Earth had ever faced. But Malik also understood something the invaders didn't. Humans were resourceful. They thrived in chaos, and they excelled at finding ways to survive against overwhelming odds. "We can't fight them head-on," Malik said during a tense strategy meeting aboard Luna Base. "But we don't need to. We'll hit them where it hurts. Supply lines, communication hubs, anything that keeps their machines running." Elena Vasquez listened intently, her mind still preoccupied with the artifact near Saturn. She had sent back preliminary findings from the reconnaissance mission, but decoding its alien language was slow work. Still, She trusted Malik's instincts. If anyone could buy her enough time to unlock the secrets of the artifact, it was him. Malik's plan relied on asymmetrical warfare, small, fast strikes designed to disrupt rather than destroy. He ordered the deployment of stealth drones equipped with electromagnetic pulse, EMP weapons. These drones would sneak past Zorath defenses, targeting vulnerable points in their fleet. It wasn't glamorous or heroic, but it was effective. The first strike came 2 days later. A squadron of drones slipped unnoticed into the outer edges of the Zorath formation near Mars. When they activated their EMPs, entire sections of the alien fleet went dark. Ships drifted powerless, their systems fried. Human pilots swooped in, finishing off the disabled vessels before retreating into the shadows of space. High Admiral Calvor watched the attack unfold with growing frustration. His glowing eyes narrowed as he studied the damage reports. Primitive tactics, he spat, dismissing the assault as insignificant. But deep down, doubt began to creep in. These humans weren't behaving like other species he conquered. They adapted quickly, striking without warning and vanishing before retaliation could be mounted. Back on Earth, news of the successful ambush lifted spirits. For a moment, people celebrated the small victory, but the cost was high. Many drones were lost, and several human pilots never returned. Each success came at a price, and Malik knew they couldn't keep this up forever. Meanwhile, Elena worked tirelessly to decipher the artifact's data. Fragments of its language revealed cryptic warnings about the Devourer and coordinates pointing to an uncharted region of space. She theorized the artifact belonged to an ancient precursor race, one that might have clashed with the Zorath long ago. Could these precursors hold the key to defeating the invaders? Her discovery reignited debates among Earth's leaders. Some argued that chasing after ancient relics was too risky when immediate survival was at stake. Others believed it was their only hope. Malik found himself caught between both sides, torn between defending Earth now and preparing for the future. As tensions mounted, another piece of the puzzle emerged. Deep scans of the artifact hinted at hidden technology, weapons far beyond human understanding. If they could access them, humanity might stand a chance. But doing so required sending a crew directly to the site near Saturn, risking everything for answers. Time was running out. The Zorath fleet drew closer every hour, their patience wearing thin. Malik looked at the star map glowing on his desk, tracing the path to Saturn. "We gamble," he whispered to himself, "or we die waiting." Humanity's fate hung in the balance, suspended between desperation and determination. As humanity clung to hope, cracks began to form in its fragile unity. Not everyone believed resistance was the right path. Some saw defiance as a death sentence and argued that surrendering to the Zorath was the only way to ensure survival. These voices grew louder with each passing day, fueled by fear and desperation. Dr. Elena Vasquez felt the tension acutely. She had spent countless hours decoding fragments of the artifact's data, working tirelessly to uncover its secrets. But her efforts were met with skepticism from factions within Earth's leadership who viewed her work as a distraction. Tensions escalated when she proposed diverting resources to send a team deeper into space to retrieve more pieces of the artifact. To them, it seemed reckless, a gamble they couldn't afford. One evening, as Elena left her lab at Luna Base, she noticed something unusual. A maintenance worker lingered near her workstation, fiddling with tools unnecessarily. His presence felt out of place, but before she could confront him, he disappeared down a corridor. Shaking off the unease, she returned to her quarters, unaware that danger was closer than she thought. The next morning, chaos erupted. An explosion rocked the base, destroying critical research equipment and scattering debris across the facility. Elena narrowly escaped injury, thanks to a quick-thinking colleague who pulled her away just in time. As alarms blared and emergency teams rushed to contain the damage, suspicion fell on sabotage. Commander Arjun Malik arrived moments later, his face grim. "This wasn't an accident," he said, surveying the wreckage. "Someone wanted to stop your work." Alina's heart sank. But who? And why? Malik didn't answer immediately. Instead, he ordered a lockdown of the base and initiated an investigation. Security footage revealed unsettling truths. The saboteur was part of a shadowy faction advocating for surrender. They believed humanity's fight against the Zoreth was futile and saw Alina's research as a threat to their plans. Worse still, evidence suggested this faction had allies within Earth's government, people in positions of power who sympathized with their cause. The betrayal cut deep, shaking trust among leaders already struggling to hold the alliance together. For Malik, it was a bitter reminder of how fragile unity truly was. Despite the attack, Alina refused to back down. "If we give up now, we lose everything," she told Malik during a private meeting. "That artifact is our best chance. We can't let fear dictate our choices." Malik agreed, but he knew they couldn't ignore the growing dissent. He made a bold decision: authorize a covert mission to retrieve more pieces of the artifact while keeping it hidden from those who opposed them. He assigned Alina to lead the expedition aboard the Odyssey, an experimental starship designed for long-range exploration. The crew included trusted personnel, scientists, engineers, and soldiers loyal to the resistance effort. Among them was Lieutenant Raj Patel, a skilled pilot with nerves of steel, and Dr. Marcus Hale, an astrophysicist whose expertise complemented Alina's own. Together, they formed a tight-knit team prepared to face whatever lay ahead. As the Odyssey launched into the void, Malik watched from the observation deck, his expression unreadable. He knew the stakes. If this mission failed, humanity might crumble under both external threats and internal divisions. But if it succeeded, it could change the course of history. Far beyond Saturn, the artifact awaited, its secrets buried beneath layers of ancient code. What Alina and her crew didn't know was that awakening those secrets would come at a cost, one that neither humanity nor the Zoreth could have foreseen. For now, though, all they could do was press forward, guided by hope and driven by the belief that survival required sacrifice. The Odyssey slipped through the darkness of space like a ghost, its sleek frame gliding silently towards Saturn's icy moon, Titan. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the holographic star map that pulsed faintly in front of her. The coordinates led them to the derelict structure buried beneath Titan's surface, a relic older than anything humanity had ever encountered. Every moment brought them closer to answers, but also deeper into uncertainty. Lieutenant Raj Patel guided the ship with precision, his hand steady on the controls. "We'll reach Titan in 6 hours," he announced, his voice calm despite the weight of their mission. "But I'm picking up strange readings from the area." Alina frowned. "Strange how?" Patel hesitated, glancing at the sensor displays. "Gravitational anomalies. Random energy spikes. It's almost like something doesn't want us there." Dr. Marcus Hale leaned forward, adjusting his glasses as he studied the data. "Could be residual effects from whatever built that thing. If it's as old as we think, its systems might still be active, albeit unstable." Elena nodded, though unease prickled at the back of her mind. She trusted her team, but she couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into something far bigger than themselves. Still, turning back wasn't an option. Earth needed answers, and time was running out. When they arrived, the sight took their breath away. Beneath Titan's frozen crust loomed a massive alien megastructure, partially exposed and glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. Its design was unlike anything they'd seen before, jagged edges intertwined with smooth curves, pulsating veins of energy running along its surface. It looked both beautiful and terrifying. "This is it," Elena whispered, her voice filled with awe. "This is what we've been looking for." The crew prepared for descent, suiting up in advanced environmental gear designed to withstand Titan's harsh conditions. As they landed near the structure, the air crackled with static electricity, making their hair stand on end. They moved cautiously, scanning for signs of danger. So far, The only sound was the crunch of ice beneath their boots. Inside the megastructure, the atmosphere shifted. The walls shimmered faintly, responding to their presence. Strange symbols floated in midair, shifting and rearranging themselves as if alive. Alina activated her scanner, recording every detail. "These markings, they're part of the same language as the artifact," she said excitedly. "If we can decode them, we might unlock its secrets." But excitement quickly turned to tension when the structure began reacting violently. Lights flickered, and low rumbles echoed through the corridors. Alarms blared inside their helmets as automated defenses sprang to life. Shadowy drones materialized from hidden alcoves, their metallic bodies bristling with weapons. "We've triggered something," Patel shouted, raising his rifle. "Everyone, fall back." Hale grabbed Alina's arm, pulling her behind cover as the drones opened fire. Energy beams seared the air, narrowly missing them. "We need to shut this place down," he yelled over the chaos. Alina's mind raced. Shutting it down would mean losing access to its knowledge, but staying meant risking capture or worse. Then she noticed something. One of the floating symbols matched a sequence from the artifact. "Wait," she cried, holding up her scanner. "I think I can interface with it." Ignoring the danger, she stepped forward, connecting her device to a glowing panel. The drones paused, their movements halting as if confused. For a moment, everything went silent. Then the ground shook. A deep mechanical voice boomed through the chamber, speaking in a language none of them understood. But Alina recognized it, the precursor language. And suddenly, fragments of memory flooded her mind, images of ancient battles and warnings about the Devourer. "What's happening?" Patel demanded, his weapon still trained on the drones. "I don't know," Alina replied, her voice trembling. "But I think it's testing us." As the structure's defenses reactivated, the crew realized they weren't just explorers anymore. They were intruders in a game they didn't fully understand. Survival now depended on solving its puzzles before it decided they weren't worthy of its secrets. The voice from the megastructure echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant, as if the structure itself was alive. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood frozen, her mind racing to process the flood of alien knowledge pouring into her thoughts. The images were fragmented but vivid, planets consumed by fire, fleets clashing in starry voids, and a looming shadow that seemed to devour entire civilizations. She recognized it immediately. The Devourer mentioned in the artifact's warnings. Lieutenant Raj Patel and Dr. Marcus Hale kept their weapons raised, scanning for threats as the drones hovered ominously around them. "Alina, what's going on?" Patel demanded, his voice tense. "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything," she replied, trying to steady herself. "It's showing me something. Memories, records, this place. It's not just a relic. It's a vault. A record of an ancient war." Hale stepped closer, his eyes wide behind his visor. "A war against the Zoreth." Alina nodded slowly, piecing together the fragments in her mind. Yes, but they weren't always conquerors. They were once slaves to whoever built this. Her voice dropped, filled with awe and dread. These precursors, they created advanced technology, including weapons capable of destroying entire fleets. When the Zoreth rebelled, they stole some of it. That's how they rose to power. The revelation stunned the team. Humanity's current struggle wasn't unique. It was part of a cycle stretching back millennia. And now, humanity had stumbled upon the tools used to defeat the Zoreth before. But the structure wasn't done testing them yet. Panels along the walls lit up, projecting holograms of complex schematics, blueprints for energy shields, plasma cannons, and self-replicating AI cores. At the center of the display floated a single glowing orb, pulsing rhythmically. Alina realized it was the core, the key to unlocking everything. "We need to take it," she said firmly, her fear giving way to determination. "If we can bring this back to Earth, we might stand a chance." "Are you sure about this?" Hale asked cautiously. Messing with precursor tech could be dangerous. What if we make things worse? There's no time to debate. Paddle interrupted, glancing nervously at the drones. We either grab it or leave empty-handed. Decide fast. Alina hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward. As she approached the orb, the drones reactivated, surrounding her in a tight circle, their weapons charged, ready to strike. The team braced themselves, but instead of attacking, the drones suddenly halted. A low hum filled the chamber, and the orb detached from its pedestal, floating toward Alina. She reached out cautiously, her gloved hand trembling as she touched it. Instantly, warmth spread through her body, and more memories surged into her mind. Warnings about misuse, instructions for deployment, and glimpses of the precursor's downfall. They hadn't been destroyed by enemies, but by their own creations. The message was clear. Power came at a cost. We have it, Alina whispered, clutching the orb tightly. Let's go. As they retreated, the structure began collapsing around them, its defenses shutting down permanently. Back aboard the Odyssey, the crew transmitted their findings to Commander Malik, who immediately ordered engineers to begin retrofitting human fleets with precursor technology. Meanwhile, High Admiral Calvor sensed a shift in the balance of power. His fleet detected unusual activity near Saturn, confirming his suspicions that humans had found something significant. He sneered at the thought of primitive beings wielding stolen relics, but arrogance blinded him to the truth. Humanity had just gained a weapon far beyond anything the Zoreth expected. The next battle would decide whether they used it wisely or repeated the mistakes of those who came before. The Zoreth fleet loomed closer, its ships casting long shadows over Earth's moon. High Admiral Calvor had grown impatient, his arrogance boiling into fury after discovering humanity's interference near Saturn. They've grown bold, he snarled, pacing the command deck of the Obliterator. Boldness must be punished. Commander Arjun Malik knew the attack was imminent. Luna Base, humanity's last line of defense before Earth itself, braced for impact. The base had been fortified with precursor technology. Energy shields shimmered faintly around its perimeter, and experimental plasma cannons lined the surface. But even with these upgrades, Malik wasn't sure they could hold. The Zoreth outnumbered them 10-1. Dr. Alina Vasquez stayed aboard the Odyssey, coordinating remotely from a safe distance. Her voice crackled over comms as she guided the defenders. Their ships rely on synchronized energy grids, she explained. If we disrupt their network, we can disable entire squadrons at once. Malik nodded grimly. Understood. We'll use EMPs and focus fire where it counts. He turned to his pilots, addressing them through the comm system. This is it, people. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone back home. Stay sharp. As the Zoreth fleet descended upon Luna, chaos erupted. Plasma beams lanced through space, striking the moon's defenses with devastating force. Explosions lit up the barren landscape, sending plumes of dust into the low gravity. Human pilots darted between enemy ships, using speed and agility to evade superior firepower. They deployed EMP drones in coordinated waves, targeting vulnerable points in the Zoreth formation. For a moment, it seemed like the plan might work. Several Zoreth cruisers faltered, their systems fried by electromagnetic pulses. Cheers erupted among the human forces as debris floated silently in the void. But Calvor anticipated their tactics. With a flick of his claw-like fingers, he ordered countermeasures. A swarm of smaller fighters surged forward, overwhelming the EMP drones and forcing the humans to retreat. Malik clenched his jaw as he watched the battle unfold. Casualties mounted rapidly. Ships exploded, lives lost in an instant. Yet despite the losses, hope remained flickering in the hearts of the defenders. Each hit against the Zoreth bought precious seconds for reinforcements, armed with precursor tech to arrive. Back aboard the Odyssey, Alina monitored the battle closely, her eyes scanning data streams for weaknesses. She noticed something crucial. The Zoreth command ships emitted unique energy signatures, acting as hubs for their fleet-wide communication. "Target those hubs," she shouted into the comm. "Take out the command ships, and the rest will fall into disarray." Malik relayed the order immediately. Pilots regrouped, forming tight formations to penetrate deeper into the enemy ranks. Lieutenant Raj Patel led a daring strike team, weaving through enemy fire to reach the nearest command ship. His heart pounded as he locked onto the target, launching a volley of precursor-enhanced missiles. The command ship shuddered under the assault, its shields collapsing before exploding in a brilliant flash of light. The effect was immediate. Nearby Zoreth vessels wavered, their movements uncoordinated without central control. Humanity seized the opportunity, pressing their advantage with relentless ferocity. For the first time, the tide began to turn. But victory came at a cost. As Malik maneuvered his flagship to protect a critical supply line, a massive Zoreth dreadnought fired directly at him. The blast tore through his ship's hull, crippling its engines. Realizing there was no escape, Malik made a split-second decision. "All hands, abandon ship," he ordered. Then, with grim determination, he steered the dying vessel toward the dreadnought, ramming it in a final act of defiance. The explosion rocked the battlefield, scattering debris across thousands of kilometers. On Earth, billions watched in stunned silence as news of Malik's sacrifice spread. Though grief weighed heavily on their hearts, his heroism ignited a fire within the survivors. They fought harder, driven by the memory of a man who gave everything to save them. By the time reinforcements arrived, the Zoreth fleet was in disarray. Their advance halted, their morale shattered. Humanity had held the line, but only barely. As the dust settled, Alina whispered a silent prayer for Malik, vowing to honor his sacrifice by ensuring his death was not in vain. The battle for Luna had left Earth's defenders battered but unbroken. High Admiral Calvor seethed in his command chamber, his glowing eyes narrowing as he analyzed the damage reports. The humans had not only survived, they had inflicted significant losses on his fleet. Worse still, they now wielded precursor technology, turning tools of ancient power against their rightful inheritors. "This is unacceptable," Calvor growled, slamming a clawed hand onto the console before him. His officers flinched at his outburst, knowing better than to speak when his temper flared. "They are primitives. Weaklings. How dare they defy us?" But defiance was exactly what humanity had become known for. Across Earth and its colonies, stories of Commander Arjun Malik's sacrifice spread like wildfire. His selfless act became a rallying cry, uniting people under a single banner: resistance. Morale soared even as resources dwindled. Every survivor vowed to fight harder, inspired by the man who gave everything to protect them. Dr. Elena Vasquez, stationed aboard the Odyssey, worked tirelessly alongside her team to weaponize the knowledge gained from the precursor artifact. Engineers reverse-engineered designs for energy shields, plasma cannons, and adaptive AI systems faster than anyone thought possible. These upgrades transformed Earth's remaining ships into formidable opponents, no longer mere targets but predators stalking the Zoreth fleet. With renewed strength, humanity launched a counteroffensive. Pilots trained relentlessly, mastering new tactics tailored to their upgraded vessels. Lieutenant Raj Patel emerged as a natural leader among the squadrons, his calm demeanor and quick thinking earning him respect across the ranks. He led several daring raids deep into Zoreth territory, targeting supply depots and communication arrays with precision strikes. Meanwhile, Alina continued decoding the artifact's data. Hidden within its cryptic messages lay warnings about the Devourer, a catastrophic force unleashed by the precursors during their final days. She realized this wasn't just a cautionary tale. It was a blueprint for ultimate destruction. If humanity could harness such power responsibly, they might obliterate the Zoreth threat entirely. But wielding it would require careful planning and immense courage. Back in space, tensions reached a boiling point. The Zoreth regrouped after their defeat at Luna, consolidating forces near Mars. Sensing an opportunity, Malik's successor, Captain Sophia Reyes, devised a bold plan. Use precursor-enhanced EMPs to disable the Zorith fleet while deploying experimental plasma torpedoes to finish them off. The assault began at dawn. Human ships surged forward, dodging plasma fire with agility, enhanced by precursor shields. As they closed in, EMP drones were deployed en masse, sowing chaos among the Zorith ranks. Ships faltered, their systems overloaded. Then came the torpedoes, blinding streaks of energy that tore through enemy hulls with devastating efficiency. High Admiral Calvor watched in disbelief as his once mighty armada crumbled around him. Anger twisted his features into something monstrous. "Retreat," he bellowed, ordering his flagship to withdraw. But retreat wasn't enough to save him. A squadron led by Patel pursued the Obliterator, relentless in their pursuit. "We've got him," Patel shouted over comms, locking onto the fleeing dreadnought. With one final salvo, the Zorith flagship erupted in a fiery explosion, scattering debris across the void. Cheers erupted among the human forces, but victory tasted bitter. Billions had died to reach this moment. Survivors mourned their losses while celebrating hard-won progress. For Elena, however, the battle wasn't over. She stared at the precursor orb in her hands, its glow steady and unwavering. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. Humanity had turned the tide, but the war was far from won. Somewhere beyond the stars, answers and dangers still awaited. With the Zorith fleet in disarray, humanity seized its chance to strike at the heart of their empire. Dr. Elena Vasquez proposed a daring plan that pushed the limits of both human ingenuity and courage. "We can't keep fighting them piecemeal," she explained during a tense strategy meeting aboard the Odyssey. "If we want to end this war, we need to dismantle their entire system from within." Her idea was audacious. Use the precursor megastructure's self-replicating AI core, the org she had retrieved from Titan, to infiltrate and disable the Zorith homeworld's defenses. The orb, she theorized, could spread like a virus through the Zorith network, corrupting their infrastructure and leaving them vulnerable. But reaching the homeworld would require navigating treacherous hyperspace routes and evading patrols, an almost impossible task. Captain Sophia Rice nodded slowly, weighing the risks. "It's risky, but it might be our only shot. If we fail, though, there's no backup plan." Elena met her gaze, determination blazing in her eyes. "If we don't try, billions more will die. We've come too far to stop now." The mission fell to Lieutenant Raj Patel and his crew aboard the Odyssey. Armed with precursor upgrades and carrying the pulsating orb, they embarked on a perilous journey deep into enemy territory. As they approached the edge of known space, strange phenomena began to plague their voyage. Gravitational anomalies twisted their path, phantom ships appeared on sensors only to vanish moments later, and eerie whispers crackled over comms, speaking in languages no one understood. "Feels like something's watching us," muttered Corporal Mylin, the ship's engineer, as she monitored the systems nervously. "Like whatever built this thing doesn't approve." Patel clenched his jaw, focusing on the controls. "Stay sharp. We're not turning back." When they finally reached the Zorith homeworld, a massive planet surrounded by fortified orbital platforms, the stakes became clear. Their stealth systems barely masked their approach as they slipped past automated sentries and cloaked fighters. Every second felt like an eternity, the tension aboard the Odyssey palpable. Once inside the atmosphere, Elena activated the orb. Its glow intensified, projecting streams of alien code that interfaced directly with the Zorith network. Instantly, alarms blared across the planet. Defense grids flickered, then shut down entirely. Power plants overloaded, plunging cities into darkness. Communication towers fell silent as the AI core replicated itself, spreading chaos through every system it touched. High Admiral Calvor, having survived the destruction of his flagship, watched helplessly as his empire unraveled before his eyes. His arrogance shattered, replaced by rage and despair. "How could this happen?" he roared, slamming his fists against the console. For centuries, the Zoreth had thrived on stolen knowledge, but they had never truly understood it. Now their ignorance sealed their fate. As the Odyssey prepared to escape, Patel noticed something alarming. The AI core wasn't just disabling systems, it was consuming them, growing stronger with each new connection. "Elena, we have a problem," he said urgently. "This thing isn't stopping. It's going to tear apart everything, including us, if we don't leave now." Elena hesitated, torn between completing the mission and saving her crew. Finally, she made the call. "Disengage," she shouted. "Get us out of here." The Odyssey surged forward, narrowly avoiding being pulled into the collapsing network. Behind them, the Zoreth homeworld crumbled under the weight of its own hubris, a monument to pride destroyed by the very tools it sought to control. As they emerged from hyperspace near Earth, relief washed over the crew. They had succeeded, but at what cost? Elena stared at the orb, its light dimmer now, but still alive. She knew the fight wasn't over. Humanity had won the war, but the artifact's secrets remained, a double-edged sword waiting to cut again. The fall of the Zoreth Dominion sent shockwaves through the galaxy. What had once been an unstoppable empire was now a fractured remnant, its homeworld reduced to ruins, and its fleets scattered across the stars. High Admiral Calvor's last transmission, a bitter curse against humanity, echoed through space before his flagship vanished into the void. The Zoreth survivors retreated into deep space, leaderless and broken. For Earth, it marked the end of a war that had tested the limits of human resilience. But victory came at a cost. Entire cities lay in ruins, billions of lives lost, and scars etched deeply into the collective psyche of humanity. Commander Arjun Malik's sacrifice became legend, his name spoken with reverence wherever humans gathered. Monuments were erected in his honor, but for those who knew him best, no statue could capture the weight of what he gave. Dr. Elena Vasquez returned to Earth as both a hero and a guardian. Her role in uncovering the precursor artifact's secrets ensured humanity's survival, but she carried the burden of knowing how close they had come to repeating the precursor's mistakes. She dedicated herself to studying the orb, determined to understand its full potential while ensuring its power would never be misused again. "Knowledge is only dangerous when we forget humility," she often said during interviews, her words serving as a reminder to future generations. Captain Sophia Rice stepped into Malik's shoes, leading Earth's newly formed United Stellar Alliance, USA. Born from the ashes of the war, the USA united humanity under one banner, vowing to protect not just Earth, but also the fragile peace they had fought so hard to achieve. Colonization efforts resumed, this time with safeguards in place to prevent overreach. Humanity looked to the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers, tempered by lessons learned from their brush with annihilation. Raj Patel, promoted to commander of the Odyssey, led reconnaissance missions into uncharted regions of space. His crew mapped new systems, searching for signs of other civilizations, and preparing for whatever threats might emerge. Though the Zoreth threat was neutralized, Patel remained vigilant. "The universe is vast," he told his team, "and we're not alone." Meanwhile, whispers of the precursors lingered. Fragments of their history hinted at more relics hidden throughout the galaxy, each holding untold power and peril. Elena advocated for caution, urging humanity to prioritize understanding over exploitation. "We've seen what happens when technology outpaces wisdom," she warned. "Let's not repeat the cycle." On Earth, life slowly rebuilt itself. Cities rose from rubble, powered by clean energy derived from precursor designs. Education systems emphasized unity and innovation, teaching children about the sacrifices made during the war. Hope replaced fear, and dreams of exploration replaced nightmares of invasion. As humanity launched its first colony ships toward distant stars, Elena stood aboard the observation deck of Luna Base, gazing at the glowing trail of departing vessels. Behind her, Captain Rice approached, offering a quiet smile. "You did good, Doc," she said softly. Elena nodded, her eyes reflecting the light of far-off suns. "This isn't the end," she replied. "It's just the beginning." Far beyond Saturn, the precursor megastructure pulsed faintly, its purpose fulfilled. For now, somewhere in the cosmos, ancient forces stirred, watching silently as humanity took its first steps into a wider universe. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but humanity was ready. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, forged by fire and bound together by hope. And so, with courage in their hearts and stars in their sights, humanity ventured forth to build, to learn, and to undo.